Passionate Tam Fam conversation, you might say. The debate over a rite of passage, sleepovers. Headlines like the one of an Oregon dad accused of spiking the smoothies of children sleeping over his daughter's house reignited this debate recently. A lot of headlines, and just look at this. These are all the headlines about it. And we're back with Tara Huck, whose social media videos banning sleepovers for her children went viral. Psychiatrist Dr. Larry Mitnaul, who's posted about the risks of sleepovers. His clients ask a lot about it all the time. And Dr. Tamara Mose, who wrote the book, The Playdate, Parents, Children, and the New Expectations of Play. She makes the case that sleepover rites of passage help build a child's independence. They're still with us. So before the break, I said, my dad, they call it a new thing, but, you know, I'm 500 years old, so it can't be new. My dad would pick me up. And, I mean, the cutoff, I think, was around midnight. We'd have popcorn. We'd watch a movie. And my dad was out front, specifically a memory I still have in my head. I was about 10. And we were at my cousin, what we call it, everybody cousin in Texas, my friend Lucy. Hey, Lucy. And everyone stayed in, and there I was walking out all by myself. I could cry now because it left a mark. That said, it didn't leave enough of a mark that I will allow my child to sleep over, right? It's like, that's the funny thing. I'm sad at 53 years old about something that happened when I was 12, but my son cannot sleep over at anyone's house, as my mind tells me today.
Right. I think that you have to kind of juggle the different options, and you have to decide. But I think we were just talking about how, you know, parents talk about all the time, well, I trust them, I know their family, I've known them forever, but how many times is it the person you trust? How many times is it the people that you thought that you knew? And you have to go. Yeah,
but it's tough with that even though, doctor, because listen, that could be a family member. I mean, so are you going to put the kid in a bubble? Because at this point, under that premise, and I struggle with this too, you're the only one that can be trusted. And we know they have to go out in the world. So what's the compromise?
I mean, the compromise is really just trying your best to equip your child as well. So I wouldn't let a child sleep over unless they could articulate to me what is going on during the sleepover, right? So I have my youngest child has Down syndrome. He's 10 years old. I have 3 children in total. And I will not let him have a sleepover because he cannot articulate back to me what is going on in that space. So if my child is not mature enough to articulate that, also as a parent, making sure that your child knows they're safe to come to you and creating that safe space. So I've always told my children, if anything feels unsafe, uncomfortable to you, please come and tell me, even if the person tells you not to tell me.
Well, that's what, and that's your point, absolutely. That's what stood out to me about the text message that the little girl sent. The words, I don't feel safe. Right. Those parents taught her to empower herself because some people would have just shrunk down and that's not to their fault. You just don't know, you're a kid. But that she felt empowered enough to say, I don't feel safe. How do we put that into our child?
Yeah, I think we have to build that from the ground up. I like to use the analogy of kind of a plant in soil where we as parents are kind of the rich nutrients that are guardians of helping to prepare our kids for the harsh realities that come above the surface. And part of that is beginning with those conversations around bodily integrity, about, you know, what's good touch, bad touch, what are good pictures, bad pictures, all the things that help to frame that there is a world that does have very real dangers out there. And I want you to both be able to recognize it, but also that you are empowered to say something or to act on what you see.
Okay, so what's the age-appropriate conversation for sleepovers?
Yeah, I think sleepovers, so for me, I'll say, I don't see sleepovers as being kind of a developmental rite of passage. I mean, that really is very much kind of an American, you know, thing.
They don't have sleepovers other places?
No, actually, that's what was interesting about the TikTok, you know, feedback that I'd get from a lot of people, and I'm sure that you got the same, which, you know, people would say, wait, are you raised by Haitian parents, or are your parents from Jamaica, or are they from the Philippines? Because we don't do that either. And so that really helped me to contextualize that really this is a U.S. phenomenon, and it's actually relatively brief and recent in human development and history.
Really?
Yes. Yes, and so think about our ancestors that were able to, you know, get in business or start farms or go out and work at younger and younger ages. So we know that in terms of if we're really looking to develop independence in our kids and ability for taking on tasks and working outside of our purview, actually, we've been good at doing that for a long time.
Dr. Mose, I'll let you get in because I know your book is about the play date, the fact that it's not something that's happening around the world, that it's a U.S. phenomenon. Are we then really depriving our children?
I don't know that we're depriving our children. I think we are giving them a different experience that they haven't had before. What I don't like about the play date situation is that now we're curating kids' play in a way that we never curated it before. So we used to go around knocking on doors saying, hey, can Sally come out and play? Right? We've done away with that. Now there's a specific time, a specific place.
I just blacked out right now, right? I'm like, Dr. Mose, this is such a regional conversation because I recognize if Moses lived in Texas, where my mom is, or where I was, he could probably, with us, knock on a door. We live in an apartment building. There is no knocking on doors. So our play dates are curated because he doesn't have that. So it's a regional thing too, right?
It is a regional thing. And also, as you said, the structures are different, right? If you're in a neighborhood with independent homes, then it might be different. In my neighborhood, yes, kids could go around and knock on each other's doors. We had an open door policy in our block, and this is in Brooklyn, New York. But you know, in an apartment building, it might be a little different.
Block. I love it. So it's a lot of it is also regional, and you're kind of doing the best you can with where you are and what you know. We're going to keep the conversation going. Go over to Tamron Hall Show Facebook page. Let us know your opinion. Sleepover, sleep under, no sleepover. Dr. Mitnaul, Dr. Mose, thank you so much. Tara, thank you so much.